Welcome to the 2021 NEHS Poetry Slam. The NEHS Poetry Slam celebrates original student poetry and the art of recitation. During this virtual event, some students will recite their own free verse and form poetry, while others will perform poems by published poets in the final round of the Poetry Out Loud competition. Many thanks to all of our talented participants for sharing their voices, and many thanks to you for joining us from home. Although this year's circumstances have kept us far away from the spotlit stage of our crowded library auditorium, we're still so happy to come together virtually to celebrate the art and power of poetry. What is a free verse poem? Free verse is poetry that does not have a regular meter or rhyme. The Box, free verse poem by Sidney Crawford.
The Box by Sidney Crawford. The world teaches us that we must fit into a box. What do you do when you can't fit into all the many boxes? What do you do when every action you take goes against what society deems as normal? What do you do when your very skin goes against what the world sees as beautiful? What do you do when your coarse textured hair manages to defy gravity no matter how hard you try to flatten it down? What do you do when no matter how hard you try to bury different parts of yourself, you still aren't good enough? What do you do when you've buried so many parts of who you are that you can't even recognize yourself in the mirror? What do you do? Tell me, please. Tell me so that I can discover who I am again. Tell me so that I can find that light that I used to have. Tell me so that I can be okay with not fitting into those boxes. Tell me, what do I do? Thank you.
Looking, Waiting, free verse poem by Emma Schenker.
Looking, waiting. Hard to know its location when you don't know what it is. Can't define the colors or edges, shapes or textures. Like you're stumbling in the dark, trying to grip on to anything there. You grab at a particularly full bunch of air and wonder, might it be similar? No idea when you'll finally touch something real or how it will save you. Only that it will. Or that at the very least, you'll feel better. That it'll turn on the lights. Then you can certainly find a next step, for better or worse. Can't help from fearing the light though. Fearing that it will expose the ugliest walls and you won't want to leave. But if you're happy with it, isn't that the point? Even if the walls and floors and furniture are all incredibly unattractive, you are guaranteed content and peace, and that will be enough. The waiting's what's unbearable. Some of the fuller bunches seem to have dimmed the darkness a little, but not enough. You can feel it getting closer though. Brushing by your fingertips over and over, bound to attach soon. If you're patient enough to stand still.
Parasite, free verse poem by Emma Schenker.
The parasite. It's feeding off of me, yet I silently comply. In fact, moments feel as if it helps me too. But all the while, it infests me with disease. I know most of its tricks by now, know what it's looking for, yet part of me convinced myself it needs me too much to run away. The issue is the parasite dies without its host. But at the end of the day, should I choose self-preservation? Even if it eats away at me a little bit, I still stand far stronger than she. Though her venom does hurt more and more. I suppose communism didn't work for a reason.
Meaningfully Meaningless, free verse poem by Natalie Gonzalez.
Meaningfully meaningless? I hate poetry, plain and simple. All my life, every person I meet makes it seem as if it's more difficult than it has to be. Because the rose means love and a gentle reminder that it can be sickened and destroyed. But what if I told you that the rose just wanted to be a rose and love can be written as simply as that? What if I told you that not all poetry looks for a deeper meaning, but rather a poet trying to let off some steam? What about that poem with the guy in San Francisco and that washing machine? Did that mean a thing? Or was it just a note left on a napkin? I like to believe that not everything in life is with purpose. That trip downtown, the dinner from that really expensive place. What's the name? I forgot. It's all to enjoy. We don't look for anything more than that. So why should poetry be any different? Or maybe it should. Maybe I added that parentheses for a reason. Or maybe I did it for fun. I could tell you, but what's the fun in that? And when you think about it, doesn't all of that have meaning too?
Devil's Snare, free verse poem by Kavya Pulverapu.
Devil's Snare. It's creeping up inside of me. Vines made of poison ivy, wrapping around my lungs, my brain, my heart. It's thick fog filling up my body, suffocating me. Can't breathe, can't think, can't feel. Squeezing out every ounce of hope, leaving me shriveled and used. As I walk out of my house to a tree, I curl up near the roots and take a deep breath. One last time. Thank you.
What is a rhyme verse poem? Rhyme verse is poetry with regular meter or rhyme. Usually, rhymed verse expresses ideas, emotions, or stories. The Other Turtle Dove, a rhyme verse poem by Isabel Gonzalez.
Tick-tock, tick-tock, there is too much time on my hands. Time to dream up strange new lands. Tick-tock, there is too much time on my hands. Time to stare blankly at the ceiling fan. Tick-tock, there is too much time on my hands. Time to melt my brain and count grains of sand. Tick-tock, there is too much time on my hands. Time to meet my teacher's high demands. Tick-tock, there is too much time on my hands. Time to become something grand. Tick-tock, there is too much time on my hands. Time to feel the pressure of all the commands. Tick-tock, there is too much time on my hands. The world comes apart as I watch from the stands.
The Other Turtle Dove, a rhyme verse poem by Isabel Gonzalez.
The Other Turtle Dove. The sun gives its good morning kiss, an alleged flip of a page. Yet all the days had passed the same until a different bird had crossed my way. He asked me for my name, and I thought he'd be the same as the cowardly doves unused to pain that flew apart when things got hard, but perhaps my perception was charred. The sun is up now, they all fly high, but I just can't get my wings in the sky. I see that he lingers, and I can't help but ask why. Why would anyone take that risk of feeling lost after hearing my sad cry? He looked into my eyes and made me realize not all birds fly with the rise. As the sun sets, the sleeping birds miss the glimpse of the moon our queen and the turtle dove my prince. And in that moment, everything would be all right for the two turtle doves to fly through the night.
An Imaginary City, rhyme verse poem by Janessa Montilla.
Rhyme verse poem by Janessa Montilla. An Imaginary City. There is an imaginary city that I picture in my mind, a place where lilac-colored skies and fluffy cotton candy trees are an easy find, where the sound of constant laughter can be heard all around, and where red and green roses are found sprouting from the ground. There is an imaginary city that I picture in my mind, a place where 7-foot-tall frogs roam the earth, replacing mankind. They wear hats and trench coats on the daily and sit around sipping unsweetened tea while playing the ukulele. There's an imaginary city that I picture in my mind, a place where evil witches work as teachers and punish those who had not done the work that was previously assigned. They will turn you from a giant frog to a giant tortoise, and they know how to do it well. Do not dare to disturb them during class, or they'll put you under a dangerous spell. There is an imaginary city that I picture in my mind, a place that does not exist, therefore thinking about it is simply a waste of time. I should get back to my studies and the work that I must do, although imagining this city and all of its wonders makes me wish it was actually true. Thank you.
What is an ekphrastic poem? An ekphrastic poem is inspired by or describes a work of art. This year's featured artist is Wasily Kandinsky. Work Hard, Play Hard, ekphrastic poem by Janelle Péniche. Examining the Seamstress by Jacob Lawrence.
Work hard, play hard. These are the words I live by, whether I like it or not. Two extremes, one or the other. My muscles tense and contract. My spine conforms to the cheap chair that supports nothing. Tedious, but precision is key. Upsetting the customers will only make it worse for me. I can only grouch and slouch. I can only slouch, even a grouch is too far, to clench and to scream and to forfeit. And so I shed the scales of my skin, the liquids of my body, staining the cloth with the desirable red. Quick, they cannot know I have bled. I work hard, they play hard. There is no other way.
What is a sestina? A sestina is a French form consisting of six-line stanzas and a 3-line envoy. The final words of each line repeat in a different but predetermined sequence in each stanza. A Man Strolls Through Midnight, a sestina by Brianna de la Paz.
Hi, my name is Brianna de la Paz, and I'm reading my sestina, A Man Strolls Through Midnight. Sometimes, late at night, I walk along dark sidewalks, quiet, alone, and in patterns. There are moments I wave at the moon, since this is when we usually meet, this time between midnight and morning. And yet it is only at morning that I cherish the night and crave our next meet. For the sun reminds me of those sidewalks with faces like the moon that lay in awful winding patterns. I think of her, in her floral patterns walking alongside me in the morning, her eyes crescent, as if the moon. I wish I could blend into the night so I do not have to wander down these sidewalks that form when my mind and memories meet. How am I supposed to meet closure when my mind works in patterns that refuse to let these sidewalks evaporate into the morning or diminish into the night? And so for this reason I pray to the moon. I pray that the moon is still and awake when we meet again in the shadows of the night, blanketed by the sky's starry patterns. I pray that by the morning I do not feel empty like these sidewalks. For if I am just a man amongst sidewalks, an astronaut on the moon, then I will never again see morning or watch the sun and the horizons meet. Yes, I am haunted by these patterns, but my God, I am so lonely at night. I want to wake in the morning and admire these sidewalks without thinking of the night or the moon. I want to meet life again and draw new patterns.
An Aware Dinosaur, a sestina by Ivana Milian.
An Aware Dinosaur by Ivana Milian. I got up to my feet, looked all around, down and up as the sun started to approach the sky that surrounded. That ball of fire sure is full of heat today. A nice way to end my time. It's refreshing to have alone time, so this finale started off on the right foot. As I drifted towards the heat, only the sky and I were up. What was the point being surrounded by dinos and friends, scared of what's approaching? My last wish was to approach the watering hole one final time. The pond was surrounded by no feet. Not even Terry, who is always flying, was up. I guess everyone didn't feel like facing the heat. On continued the sweltering heat, and with it came death. And Terry approaching, I see he's up. I guess it was already his time. All that was left of Terry was his body trampled by feet, created by the stampede that surrounded. Swallowed up by the thunder surrounding, I moved against a horde who couldn't take the heat. The crowd tried knocking me down on my feet, but I still continued to approach my last bits of time. I knew it was up. The last step of acceptance is giving up. I was surrounded by the end of all our time. No more having to lie around and take the heat because my sweet end was approaching. There is no point trying to run another foot. It was about time for this eternal sleep to eat me up. I stood there, feet frozen, looking at my surroundings as that ball of heat, our light and our destroyer, approached.
What is a haiku? A haiku is a Japanese lyric poem of a fixed 17 syllables. The first line contains 5 syllables, the second line contains 7 syllables, and the third line contains 5 syllables. A haiku often references to something in nature. Love, a haiku by Stephanie Akinbenji.
My name is Stephanie. I'll be reading a haiku titled Love. A fleeting feeling, harmful weapon in disguise, yet we yearn for it. Thank you.
You and I, a haiku by Maria Noelia Hearn.
You and I by Maria Noelia Hearn. Pebbles. I watch them rise, lift down into my palm, rippling and dancing through my skin. Weightless.
Bittersweet, a haiku by Gabriel Roca.
Bittersweet. The cherry blossoms, transient, yet full of life. Lovely, yet poignant.
Unbothered, a haiku by Janessa Montilla.
Haiku poem by Janessa Montilla. Unbothered. Rain heavily pours. Unbothered by its rival, the crow still takes flight. Thank you.
Haiku, a haiku by Sarai Francis.
When everything ends, we will live on forever. Love is eternal.
What is a sonnet? A sonnet is a 14-line poem written in iambic pentameter and following a particular rhyme scheme as dictated by either Italian or English form rules. Raven Eyes, a sonnet by Christopher Castillo.
I'm going to be reading my original sonnet, Raven Eyes. Oh, why must I be doomed to fall again? And there, into your marble arms I go, perfect but cold, stealing my warmth and glow. Through each loveless embrace may I contend, a piece of me yearns for your heart to mend. Because you've been broken before, I know if I love hard enough, your heart will show, and then I hope I will be loved again. My friends, they say they know that this must stop. They claim that they do know your type, and that in your dark raven eyes are naught but lies. Sometimes, though I may pray that this won't stop, my heart of hearts knows that this won't last. My heart was cheap. This love comprises lies.
Christmas Past, a sonnet by Aaliyah Myers.
Hi, my name is Leah Myers and I'm currently a senior. I'm going to be reciting my own original sonnet called Christmas Past. Here you go. Can you think back to Christmas long ago? Ponder to when you were a young child, counting down the days until Santa Claus would show. Too young to know your parents had you in beguile. Preparing the cookies and milk for St. Nick, bringing out all the old ornaments to decorate your new tree, being sure not to make any mistakes or play any tricks, for it is a season of cheer, excitement, and glee. For finally the day has arrived, and you haven't gotten much sleep, running quickly to your parents and shaking them rapidly, like a rattle from when you were a young peep, tearing off all the wrapping paper cheerfully. Parents grasping for the sweet moment through a camera lens. This moment is a moment you share with your family and friends. Thank you.
What is a cinquain? A cinquain is a short poem consisting of 5, usually unrhymed lines containing, respectively, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 2 syllables.
A flame takes your place here, and while you have wings, a lonely echo perches within my soul.
The National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation have partnered with U.S. state arts agencies to support Poetry Out Loud, a contest that encourages the nation's youth to learn about great poetry through memorization and recitation. The following Poetry Out Loud participants are the top 10 scoring students from our December Recite Night event. Each will compete today by reciting a second published poem. The highest scoring student will compete at the state level in March, and the state winner will then advance to the national POL competition to compete for the national championship title and $20,000. Edward Williams recites The World is Too Much with Us by William Wordsworth.
The World is Too Much with Us by William Wordsworth. The world is too much with us, late and soon. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon. This sea that bears her bosom to the moon. The winds that will be howling at all hours and are upgathered now like sleeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune. It moves us not. Great God, I'd rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn. So might I, standing on this pleasant lea, have glimpses that will make me less forlorn. Have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn.
Emma Schenker recites To the Notebook Kid by Eve L. Ewing.
To the Notebook Kid by Eve L. Ewing. Yo, chocolate milk for breakfast, kid. One leg of your sweatpants rolled up, scrounging at the bottom of your mama's purse for bus fare and gum. Pen broke and you got ink on your thumb, kid. What's good? Hot on the cement, kid? White Castle, kid? Tongue stained purple, cussing on the court, till your little brother shows up with a half a candy bar, kid. You got that good B in science, kid. You earned it, kid. Etch your name in a tree. Hug your granny on her birthday. Think of Alaska when they shootin'. Curled up dreams of salmon, safety, tundra. The farthest away place you ever saw in a book. Polar bears, your new chess partners. Picking the ice, northern lights, kid. Keep your notebook where your cousins won't find it. Leave it on my desk if you want. Shuffle under carbon paper and a stamp that screams late. Yellow and red to draw the eye from the ocean you keep hidden in a jacked up 5-star. Your mama thought there was a secret in there. Thought they'd laugh. But that ain't it. It's that flows and flows and flows and lines like those rip-roaring bits you got. Bars till the end of time. You could rap like helium bout to spring. All of it down to you. None left in the sun. Fuelless. While the last light pushes from your belly, climbing your ribs, and you laugh into the microphone. And who is ready for that?
Zoe Matumbo recites A Birthday by Christina Rossetti.
A Birthday by Christina Rossetti. My heart is like a singing bird whose nest is in a watered shoot. My heart is like an apple tree whose boughs are bent with thick set fruit. My heart is like a rainbow shell that paddles in a Halcyon sea. My heart is gladder than all these because my love is come to me. Raise me in a daze of silk and down, hang it with vair and purple dyes, carve it in doves and pomegranates and peacocks with 100 eyes, work it in gold and silver grapes, in leaves and silver fleurs de lis, because the birthday of my life is come, my love is come to me.
Ethan Carrera recites Ozymandias by Peter Bysshe Shelley.
Ozymandias by Percy Bysshe Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive. Stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them, and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
Mariana Caliquio recites Siren Song by Margaret Atwood.
Siren Song by Margaret Atwood. This is the one song everyone would like to learn. The song that is irresistible. The song that forces men to leap overboard in squadrons, even though they see the beached skulls. The song nobody knows, because anyone who has heard it is dead, and the others can't remember. Shall I tell you the secret? And if I do, will you get me out of this bird suit? I don't enjoy it here, squatting on this island, looking picturesque and mythical, with these two feathery maniacs. I don't enjoy singing this trio, fatal and vulnerable. I will tell the secret to you, only to you. Come closer. This song is a cry for help. Help me. Only you can. You are unique at last. Alas, it is a boring song, but it works every time.
Amaya John recites A Poison Tree by William Blake.
Poison Tree by William Blake. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not, my wrath did grow. And I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears. And I sunned it with smiles and soft, deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night till it bore an apple bright. And my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. And into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole. In the morning glad, I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree.
Nina Ali recites Blind Curse by Simon J. Ortis.
Blind Curse by Simon J. Ortiz. You could drive blind for those 2 seconds, and they would be forever. I think that as a diesel truck passes us 8 miles east of Mission, churning through the storm, heedless of the hill sliding away. There isn't much use to curse, but I do. Words fly away, tumbling invisibly toward the unseen points where the prairie and sky meet. The road is like that in those seconds. Nothing but the blind white side of creation. You're there somewhere, a tiny, struggling cell. You just might be significant, but you might not be anything. Forever is a space of split time from which to recover after the mass passes. My curse flies out there somewhere, and then I send my prayer into the wake of the diesel truck headed for Sioux Falls, 180 miles through the storm.
Jillian Medina recites No, I Wasn't Meant to Love and Be Loved by Mizra Azaduya Khan Galib.
No, I Wasn't Meant to Love and Be Loved by Mirza Asadullah Khan Galib. No, I wasn't meant to love and be loved. If I lived longer, I would have waited longer. Knowing you are faithless keeps me alive and hungry. Knowing you faithful would kill me with joy. Delicate are you, and your vows are delicate too. So easily do they break. You are a laconic marksman. You leave me not dead, but perpetually dying. I want my friends to heal me, succor me. Instead, I get analysis. Conflagrations that would make stones drip blood are campfires compared to my anguish. Two-headed, inescapable anguish. Love's anguish, or the anguish of time. Another dark, severing, incommunicable night. Death would be fine if I only died once. I would have liked a solitary death. Not this lavish funeral, this grave anyone can visit. You are mystical, Galib. And also you speak beautifully. Are you a saint? Or just drunk, as usual?
Caitlin Cabrera recites I Eat Breakfast to Begin the Day by Zubair Ahmed.
I Eat Breakfast to Begin the Day by Zubair Ahmed. I create time. I cannot create time. I'm frozen in place. I cannot be frozen. I'm moving, but don't notice. I notice me moving. I pay attention to the small, yet immense, yet small movements that guide my limbs, my hair growth, my joint oils. I don't think about it. I don't feel it either. I don't have emotions right now. I see films of divine quality. I don't see any films this black, this
not black. To me, I am. I am not. To me, not. I walk with this hollowness. I walk with this blooming. I'm moving outward, forever onward, eternally inward. I create all objects like shampoos and cats. I create nothing like space and antimatter. I resign to the clocks that keep time. I surrender to the clocks that don't keep time. I'm sure about it. The color white. I'm not sure about it. What is word? Oh, the loops and unloops. Destiny unfolds in my knees. I eat breakfast to begin the day.
Madison Bambino recites The Good in the Evil World by Rebecca Hazelton.
The Good in the Evil World by Rebecca Hazelton. Before the war leaned in and blew out the candles, there were many long days where lovers called themselves lovers, and a house was a dream, but also four walls, a roof. A father called out to his daughter to see the monarch butterflies pausing in their migration to fan the goldenrod, a tiger in each coy disclosure. A young man reached for a blackberry and found draped on the branch a green snake, the color of matcha. A green snake, the color of matcha, sighed in the sun. People drove in cars. There were jobs, and someone had to go to work every morning. A man quit his job, and it was no tragedy. He just didn't like the work. Another man slid in and found it comfortable enough and just as easily slid in beside the man's wife and into everyday rhythms of his life, and that was no tragedy either. After rains, a ring of mushrooms would delicately crack the earth. Spanish moss harbored red mites. The sky wasn't interesting. No one looked up. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Mariana Colicchio and I'm this year's NEHS Vice President. Although it was online, we hope that you enjoyed all of the beautiful recitations that we just saw as part of our Poetry Out Loud virtual competition. We hope to see you soon. And I'm glad that we all had this opportunity to kind of come together and really appreciate the beauty and joy that comes with poetry.